Cole Allen tried to kill the President of the United States on Saturday night, and the most powerful figure in his political coalition, Barack Obama, did not pull a trigger. He wrote one tweet on Sunday morning, and that tweet is an archetype of something that most people have never been taught to recognize. A propaganda machine that has been infecting the United States and the whole world for some time. But anyway, Allen, a California Democrat, charges a Secret Service checkpoint with multiple weapons. He had attended No Kings rallies. He had voted for Kamala Harris. He had a manifesto already written, and that manifesto is now public. And that manifesto is not subtle. He wanted to murder the President of the United States, and he wrote down exactly why he wanted to do it. Secret Service neutralized him before he reached the hall, luckily. Trump was evacuated, then walked straight to the Brady Press briefing room and asked the country to lower the temperature. And at 7 in the morning on Sunday, Trump personally called the former president of the White House Correspondents Association on his landline to ask if he was okay. That is the timeline. Now, sometime that Sunday morning, Barack Obama posted a tweet. It said this: "Although we don't yet have the details about the motives behind last night's shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, it's incumbent upon all of us to reject the idea that violence has any place in our democracy." Yeah, you can imagine my face with the words, "although we don't yet have the details about the motives." The motives were on the internet before Obama wrote that tweet. The shooter wrote them down in his own hand and posted them publicly. The motives were known. The man Obama was telling people to be patient about had already told the world exactly what he was doing and exactly why. And the former president of the United States, who has held a microphone in his hand for over 20 years and who knows precisely how language shapes a public, chose a sentence that straight up says, "We have no idea why this guy did it." So the mainstream media response was uniform across every major network. They call it a tragic event, said all sides should lower the temperature, said political violence is wrong on the left and on the right, and described Obama's tweet as a measured, statesman-like call for unity. But what those media will never say is that this is a manipulation tactic and it has a name. It is called false equivalence. And the shooter wrote down exactly which side of the temperature he came from. There is a reason a man who used to run the United States chooses to gaslight the public like this. He knew the details, but his intentions are not about talking based on the truth. His intentions are making sure that sentence does something very specific to the listener. Since the facts are clear and the moral conclusion is obvious, the only way to protect the hard left and save a little face is to slow people down. You do not deny the evidence. You suggest the evidence is incomplete, and you ask the listener to wait. You frame moral judgment as something premature and uncivil. The sentence is built for the listener who needs permission to ignore the manifesto, who needs permission to push the moral conclusion off until later, who needs an escape hatch from the cognitive dissonance of seeing someone in their political coalition act on the very framing the coalition has been broadcasting for 10 years, which is literal political violence from Obama himself, from Hillary, from Kamala, Tim Walz, AOC. These are not fringe podcasters. These are people holding office. And yet, they don't seem to have or care about that responsibility. And the same sentence does a second thing. It forces people who are looking right at the facts to spend their day arguing for the facts, which turns reality itself into the debate. The shooter was on video. The manifesto was on the internet. The political affiliation was documented. He declared his own intentions in his own words to authorities. And by Sunday afternoon, the conversation had become, why are you being so partisan? Why are you politicizing a tragedy? Can we please just lower the temperature? The tweet is a gaslighting operation, and it worked exactly the way these operations are designed to work. The tactic is cynical for a specific reason. The man it was protecting is not on the fringe of his coalition. Cole Allen voted for Kamala Harris. He spends his time on blue sky and at No King's protests. The manifesto he wrote is articulate and reasoned. The writing of someone with full mental capacity acting on the conclusions of a story he was told. By every external marker, Cole Allen is a rank-and-file member of the modern Democratic Party. He is not on the fringe, he's at the median. In his manifesto, the things Cole Allen believed about Trump are the same things every cable host has been saying about Trump for 10 years. Trump is Hitler. Trump will end democracy. Any reasonable person would do anything to stop a Hitler if they had the chance. The math on the inside of the manifesto is the same math on the outside of an MSNBC monologue. The only difference is that Cole Allen actually grabbed a couple guns, and that is terrifying. So Trump himself, in his interview with 60 Minutes the day after the attempt, said something every parent in America understood the moment they heard it. He said the internet has radicalized some people, that it has made people mentally sick. That is the president of the United States diagnosing the man who tried to murder him, and the diagnosis is on point. The radicalization did not come from nowhere. So I'm from Venezuela. I have seen this exact sequence and not on a television screen. When a political class spends a generation building one specific story about its enemy, this story has to be very simple. The enemy must be cast as the worst figure in human history, someone who will end the world if he is not stopped. I was part of all those labels that Hugo Chavez wanted to put on us. And once that story is in the air long enough, two things happen. The first is that the people telling the story begin to believe their own story. They forget it was a campaign tool. They think they are describing reality. The second is that somewhere in the audience, an articulate, well-educated, high-functioning young man starts taking the story literally. He asks himself the question this story implicitly asks. If this man is Hitler, then what is the moral thing to do? So the story has already given him the answer. The propagandists never wanted that part. They wanted the votes and the engagement and the donations. They did not want the manifestos. But the manifestos are downstream of the story, and you don't get to keep the story and refuse the consequences. So Trump said something else in that 60 Minutes interview, and it is worth keeping in mind for the next 2 months. He said that usually when something like this happens, they wait about 2 or 3 months before they start saying it didn't happen. So watch for that. Watch the framing soften. Watch the manifesto get described as ambiguous. Watch the shooter become a confused young man with unspecified mental health issues. Trump has seen this movie before, and so has the country. So if you want my deeper analysis on geopolitics and markets, go check my blog, The Power Pundit. I can say things there that I'm not allowed to say anywhere else. I'm about to update an article I published 2 years ago, How Governments Use Illegal Immigration to Control You, and that is going to be an exclusive for my subscribers. Link in the description. And share this video with your family and friends so they know what's really going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm The Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.